Good morning and welcome to OLC4O Term B. Today's class is December 7th, 2022, and we are covering class number 15. We're on Unit 2, Lesson 6, and today's class will cover assignments 22 and 23. There we go. Got that thing out of the way. So we are in week 4 of classes in Term 1B. We're getting very close to our 2-week holiday vacation where there will be no broadcasts, so you won't have any live classes from December 26th to January 5th, but we will come back, and this is the last broadcast will be January 26th. And then after that, you will write your final exam or your culminating activity, depending on the situation in your community. So, as I mentioned at the start of every class, there's 4 ways you can tune into the class live. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can pause the screen. And if you can join us from 10 a.m. to 10:55 Central Standard Time, that'd be great. And you can phone in, listen on the radio, listen to Bellevue channel 972, or type in this Zoom link. And all of that information is found in the study guide. You can also find it out by phoning the WASA office or by getting in touch with your local learning center. Keep those views coming. Search for Laverty WASA on YouTube. I think the best way to do it is to go to the playlist. And I've got 2 playlists. Sorry, I've got 3 playlists. So you'll find a Unit 1 playlist, a Unit 2 playlist, and a Term 1B playlist that has all the videos, and then they're also divided into Unit 1 and Unit 2. So here's how to send your work to me. So you can, again, talk to your learning center, talk to your DEC, reach out to the WASA office, send me an email if you need to. So just get in touch. There's many ways you can send your work in, but the most important thing is just to simply send it in, get that over to me. This is the way to do that. Send me an email. Add me as a friend on Facebook, or just shoot me a message on Messenger. You can find me at Laverty WASA, or give the office a phone call. Okay, so we do have a toll-free long-distance phone number, so you don't want to incur any long-distance charges. So give that number a call. Phone me Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday, 9 till 3. I do not take a lunch break, so I'll be at my desk. And if I miss your call, leave me a voicemail, and I'll call you right back. So here's where you should be right now. So you should have read all of Unit 1 by now. You should definitely be starting to read Unit number 2. You should have completed all of assignments 1 through 18. So assignments 1 through 18, that's Unit 1. And then assignment 19 is the first in Unit 2. So you should have all of Unit 1 taken care of. And Unit 2, it should be the next thing on your radar. So again, so this is, this is about, this is week 1 to week number 4. So if you're taking this course through an independent learning stream, if you're not tied down to the term, I still think it's important to follow these timelines. You don't want to let the assignments build up, and it's really important to get them to me, and then that way I can mark them and I can give you some feedback. So you need to get the feedback so you can improve your assignments, do better next time. I give you all kinds of tips and insights, and I tell you what you're doing right, and I give you some things that you can work on. And you don't want to stress yourself out either, too, right? Just by forcing all of the stuff to be done in like a really short amount of time. So get the assignments in, and if you're having trouble getting started, or you have any questions, contact me. Email, Facebook, Messenger, phone, text, whatever the case may be. Get in touch with me, and I'll get you the help you need. So today's lesson, we'll cover the words of the day. We will look at a headline, And we're going to cover 2 assignments, so assignment 23 and assignment 24 of Unit 2 of Lesson 6. So we've got 2 learning goals. We're going to explore the various ways of expressing information through visual elements. So we're talking about visuals today. And we're going to review the writing process in regards to writing an information paragraph. So we're going to talk about how we use visual elements in our writing. You know, how we don't just simply use words and letters. We also use symbols, we use photographs, we use information graphics. We use all kinds of visual elements, color, you know, like the color of our text, the way that we make our text bold, italic, underlined. And then we're once again going to dive into that writing process and give you a good strategy for tackling your information paragraph. So you'll be successful if you can apply your understanding of visual elements to complete assignment 23, and if you can practice the writing process to guide the completion of assignment 24. So that's a really important word here, guide. Completing writing assignments is difficult if all you have in front of you is a blank page and you don't have a roadmap or a strategy for completing it. So, and that's what the writing process is there for you. It's to give you a process, it's to give you a guideline, and it's a practice. It's sort of like a martial art, or a way you do it the same way every time, and it guides you through. Instead of just going at it kind of fresh every time, you've got a guide beside you to show you the way, and you still have to do the work. You still have to find your way through there, but it's sort of like a map. It's a guideline. It tells you some things you might want to avoid, some things you might want to look out for. So before we do the words of the day, we'll look at the images of the day. So on the right-hand side, this is a cuneiform tablet. So this is like a thousands-of-year-old tablet found in the Middle East. And on this side, we have a birch bark scroll. So 2 very old forms of writing. And, the one on the left is made with, wet clay and some kind of a stylus or a writing instrument that was used to make etchings in the clay. And then those etchings were turned into permanent symbols after they got baked in the sun. So, I'm making my markings on a smartboard on a gigantic tablet. So we still have tablets, but these were the original tablets. And on the right, you've got a birch bark scroll, which is, of course, a strip of birch bark. And it's got symbols that were etched into it, either by taking like a burnt piece of ember or wood or some other tool that could scratch excuse me, into the surface and make a pattern. So that leads us to our words of the day. So in the indigenous language, Anishinaabe-Moan, we've got Ajibigan, which is a noun, and it refers to something written. So a piece of writing, a paper, an essay, a report, etc., mail, something used for writing. So it could also refer to like paper itself or like a notebook, something that we use for writing. On the right, we've got cuneiform, and that's an ancient form of writing used by the Akkadians, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, Persians, other people. And it literally means wedge-shaped. And all these people, Akkadians, Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians, they are from what is now modern-day Iraq and Iran mostly, right? So what we call Mesopotamia, or the cradle of civilization. So this is the oldest civilizations known to humanity. So there it is right there. So that's why they call it a wedge shape, because the writing tool is literally a wedge. It's a piece of wood that is kind of carved down, and it makes that wedge shape. And then you see they would make markings in the clay, and they would leave that wedge pattern in the clay. So that was the earliest form of writing that we know about. And over here, you've got the evolution of the cuneiform, right? So you got the sun, circa 3500 BC, and then that symbol changes to become a little bit more abstract. We've got God or heaven, which kind of looks a lot like the sun or an asterisk in modern day usage, and then that symbol just kind of like changes and progresses, right? So I like this one. You got a fish. So the fish starts off like very literal with like fins, fins here, a dorsal fin, a lower fin, and then that symbol over time becomes more abstract, and then becomes represented by several different wedges. So if you saw those symbols, you would know what the person was talking about. So, and then a few more words, related words in Anishinaabe-Moan. We've got wigwas, which is a birch bark or a piece of birch bark. Matig is a tree. Wigwasatig is a birch tree. And wigwasabak is a birch bark mat or a scroll. So the writing surface that the indigenous writing would go on. One of the most common misperceptions was that when Europeans came to North America, they came face to face with an illiterate people that didn't have writing. But then we now know that's not true, and there's been writing in North America, Turtle Island, for thousands of years, even longer going back, right? So there absolutely was writing here. It was just an old-fashioned view that's now kind of being debunked. So there was absolutely writing here, and very advanced thought and philosophies and worldviews and belief systems, and of course a language and a culture that was almost erased, but thankfully was not, and is now kind of making a resurgence. So that's why I try to learn as much of these words as I can. I don't speak this language, but I'm trying to learn as many new words as I can in the language and trying to incorporate it into my teaching. So I did a little bit of research. So birch bark scrolls have been used in Ireland, Russia, I think Thailand, India. So where birch trees or trees that are similar to birch trees have been used all over the world because they're great. They're almost like paper, right? You don't have to manufacture the paper. You don't have to make it in a factory or make it at home or whatever the case. You just simply rip it off a tree and you roll it out, and it's like a scroll, and then you write on it. And these scrolls have been found all over the world, and many different cultures all across the globe have been using trees to use as paper, or sorry, the bark from certain forms of trees as paper. So I want to look at a couple of root words here. So graph is a Greek suffix, so a suffix comes at the end of a word. And it literally means to scratch, to scrape, or graze. It also means to write. Auto is a Greek word meaning self. So an autograph is a combination of the words that literally means self-scratch or self-write. So the way that you scratched your name onto a piece of paper, that's your autograph. Photos is a Greek word for light. So the word photograph, it literally means light scratch or to write with light. So that's kind of cool, right? So when we're making a photograph, we are writing with light. And the first photographs were etchings into physical material. Like they were either etchings into a plate of glass, or light was literally etched into a sheet of metal or paper, and that's how the first photographs were made. You've often heard of if you leave a picture on a digital monitor for too long, and the old school monitors were made of glass, the image would actually be burnt into the surface of the screen. So I used to work at Robin's Donuts here in Sioux Lookout, and then one day the owner of the shop decided to move the security camera like a few inches to the right. And when he did that, you could still see the counter. Because for years and years it had been filming the same counter at the same angle, and when you slightly shifted it over, that image had literally had been scraped or etched into the glass on the screen, and it was like this phantom image of the counter that was always there. And it took several weeks and months for that image to kind of blend and to go away, but it was really noticeable. So here's our article of the day. Electric delivery trucks begin rolling off the line as Canada's first EV plant opens. So EV is, of course, electric vehicle. The first electric delivery trucks began rolling off production lines in early December as General Motors Company, GMN, officially opened Canada's first large-scale electric vehicle plant Monday in Ingersoll, Ontario. So we'll have a look at that headline. We've got our adjectives in orangey, yellow. Our verbs are in green. Our prepositions are in red. Nouns are in blue. Articles are in white. Noun, I think that's all of them. So we have a noun, and our noun is trucks. So I've mentioned this many times in this class. You know, good writing is often specific writing, and adjectives are what helps us be really specific, right? So there are many kinds of trucks in the world. So trucks is like a general category. You know, if I tell you I saw a truck on the road, you know, that's not very specific. And if I say the word truck, you know, what image pops in your mind? It could be hundreds, if not thousands, of different trucks. But we're talking about very specific ones. So they're delivery. And they're not just delivery trucks, they're electric, right? So we've got double adjective. It's an electric delivery truck. So those two adjectives modify the word truck. And now, you know, you've got this lovely image. So you've seen the image, but if you don't have the image, hopefully my words can give you a little bit more accuracy. And then what do? They begin rolling. So sometimes we have two verbs back to back. So they begin rolling off. Prepositions are relationship words. They tell us where something is going. They tell us where it is. They tell us when it is. Rolling off the line. So articles, there's 3 articles in the English language: an, a, and the. This is one of them, the. So the line. As Canada's, okay, so it's Canada apostrophe S. So it's Canada apostrophe S because something belongs to Canada. What belongs to Canada? An EV plant, right? So this is Canada's EV plant, right? So the apostrophe S shows possession, that something belongs to Canada. But again, it's not just an EV plant. It's a large one, and it's also the first of its kind in Canada. So again, there's 2 adjectives, and they're modifying this. They're modifying that noun, the EV plant. So it's and then what is it doing? It's opening. So in one sentence, in one headline, we have a lot of information. We know that Canada has started production, and its first electronic vehicle plant has opened, and it hasn't just opened, it's now rolling out the trucks, and they're being delivered to companies all across Canada and other parts of the world. So it's always good to have examples of how writers write and to sort of copy their examples, and that's how you become a better writer. It's how you become a better artist, musician. You're always looking at other people's work, and you're saying, how can I copy that? How can I emulate that? How can I imitate them? That's what artists do. I read a really cool book probably about 5-6 years ago. It's called To Be an Artist is to Steal. And it's from a famous quote. I think it's from Salvador Dali, who said that all great artists steal, right? So you're always getting inspiration from other people, and that's what I'm trying to do here with this breakdown of the second paragraph. So we're looking at a paragraph written by a professional writer, and we're going to see how they wrote this paragraph and see how we can break it down and to get some tips from them. So I'd like to throw these grammatical linguistic phrases at you. So An apositive or a noun phrase is a chunk of writing that gives you more information about a subject, right? So it's usually telling us more about a subject. So this is a noun phrase. GM's new commercial electric delivery vehicle business. So that's a phrase. That could not stand alone as a complete sentence. It's not a clause. But what it does is it gives us more information about something, right? In this case, BrightDrop. So here's the sentence without it. So BrightDrop also announced DHL Express Canada will be the first customer outside the U.S. for the BrightDrop Zevo 600 van. So I can take that additional information and I can insert it into my sentence using brackets, commas, dashes, or I can reorganize the sentence. So here's one example. I could say BrightDrop is GM's new BrightDrop is GM's new commercial delivery vehicle business. This business also announced DHL Express Canada will be the first customer outside the U.S. So a better example would be BrightDrop, comma, GM's new commercial electric delivery vehicle business also announced, ... So there's actually only two. So this is 29 words, the good example, and the better example is 27 words. So we've dropped the word is and dropped the word this, and that might seem like a really minor difference, but I think it's definitely an improvement on that. And anytime you can make your writing leaner, if you can say what you want to say with less words, I think it's usually for the better. You want to make your writing lean. You want to make every word count, and the less words you use to convey the same meaning is less chance to confuse the reader. It's less reading they have to do, and the chances of them getting your meaning and understanding what you're trying to say, it's usually better. And when we write, we typically write more words than we need, and then we cut it back. So the writing process usually, if you need 1,000 words, you write 1,200 words, and then you cut it back to 1,000. It's a lot easier to do that. If you need to write a 100-word paragraph, it's a good practice to write about 10% more than you need, and then cut it back. So write a lot, write as much as you can. Don't think about spelling and grammar. Just write and write and write and generate ideas, and then you go back and you cut it and you make it better. And that's typically how most writers operate. So here's another example. So an introductory phrase. While the number of units DHL is buying was not disclosed, comma, BrightDrop Chief Commercial Officer Stephen Hornick said the company has orders and commitments for north of 25,000 vans. So right here we got an example of how someone has quoted the text and they've incorporated the quote into their sentence. So that's one way you can do it. If you quote someone in your writing, you can just put their words in the middle of your words. So it has to make grammatical sense. You still put it in quotation marks. So you can either, actually there's three ways you can do it, right? You can paraphrase someone, and that's when you use your own words completely, and then you just change what they say, but you have to keep the meaning. You can paraphrase it. You can incorporate it, which is what they did here, or you can set it up. You can set up the quote, right? And using like a colon, right, or something like that. So on the bottom, we've got a list of details that offers the reader more information. So buyers include Walmart, Hertz, FedEx, and Verizon. The word include means that these are some of the buyers. They're probably the most notable ones. And you see we don't use a semicolon there because this is not a complete sentence. So we just simply say buyers include these these important buyers. Okay, so let's jump right into using visuals and information text. We are looking at assignment number 23. So part A asks you this question. What is the best way to show this information visually? Here's the information. In 2021, approximately 6 million people were working in Ontario, of which 54% were male workers, 46 were female, 82% worked full-time, 18% worked part-time, 84 were employees, 16 were self-employed. And as you'll notice, they all add up to 100, right? So 54 plus 46 is 100. Because we're talking about all workers, right? So of all workers in Canada, 54% are male, 46 are female, 82% are full-time, 18% work part-time. So they all have to add up to 100. So we've got our data set. So we call that a data set. We've got a group of information, and one way to express the information is through words. So we're using words and numbers to express information, to give information to our reader. How could we show this information visually? So I've got 3 of the most common graphs up on the board here. You've got a line graph. You've got you got a bar graph. You've got a line graph. And you've got a pie graph. So the pie graph is obviously, this circular-shaped, pie-shaped graph. And we've got categories. And so 55% of people who own pets, or of pets, 55% are dogs, 30% are cats. In the line graph example, we've got 2 axes. We've got one that goes up and down, one that goes left to right. And so on Monday, we've got 5 donuts sold. On Tuesday, we've got 4, and so on and so on. And the first example, the bar graph, is noticeably different from the line and the pie graph in that we have our categories. We have 2 axes, again, similar to the line graph, and we have an axis that goes left and right. But if we look at John, I have 2 points of data for John. I can see that when John does not prepare for his tests, he gets 75%. When he does study for his tests, he gets about 90%, all right? So for John, I have 2 points of data. For Jetser, I have 2 points of data. For Darlene, 2 points of data. If we look at the line and the pie graph, I only have 1 point of data for Monday. I only know that 5 boxes of donuts are sold on Mondays. I only know that 55% of dogs, or of pets, are dogs. I don't know what breed of dog. I don't know what kinds of donuts were sold. So if you've got 2 sets of data for each kind of subject, I'm just kind of giving you a hint on what's going to be the graph that you're going to pick, right? So when you've got multiple points of data see, we've got 3 categories, but there's more than one data, so you got to say which graph is best and why would it be the best. Just want to take a moment to talk about infographics. So this is sort of like been around for about 10, 12 years now, but it's a new form of information. And it's when we represent information, data, or knowledge, and we do it in a way that's visually engaging, and it makes it easy on the reader. So all the information here, so you see how a lot of it is traditional text, but it's also paired with an image, right? So I've got 6 people, but I've got 6 people, but I also have, I have 6 images of people, right? So it's when we combine images and we break up our information into little chunks that people can read, okay? So I've got, 50,000 children are orphaned, and we have the broken heart symbol, which, represents a broken heart, the broken heart of the child or the of the parent who is separated from the child. So infographics are a very useful way to convey information. And if we go back to assignment 19 of Unit 2, Lesson 6, more and more pamphlets are incorporating this infographic style to represent their information. Part B of the question asks you to read the report below and then answer the questions that follow it. So what kind of visual is used here? This is my visual right here. So don't overthink it. When we talk about a news report, news reports have headlines, right? So a news report has a headline. News reports have a byline. The byline is who wrote the report. News reports have a text or a body. That's all this stuff right here. And they also have this thing right here. What's that thing called, right? That's the question. Why do you think they chose this? So why? Why do we have this image? And do you think it's effective in conveying information? So does it give us more information than the text gives us, right? When we read a newspaper article, we typically get a headline, a byline, we get a date, and we get a bunch of text, and we get an image to go along with it, and we get a description of that image. So break that down for me. Answer those 3 questions. Now we are on to assignment 24, the information paragraph. So it's your job to come up with an information paragraph. And this is a specific form of an information paragraph. It's a how-to article. So you are going to write a how-to paragraph on a topic of your choice. So it's only 1 paragraph. So think about something that you can break down into 3 or 4 steps. So it can't be like an elaborate thing. You know, it's like, you know, you can't talk about like building a house in a paragraph. It's just way too much stuff to talk about. You could talk about one aspect of building a house, right? Or maybe like repairing something or fixing something in a house, right? So that's an option you might want to look at. So ask yourself this question, you know, like, you know, what can I teach someone? They've given your course material gives you examples, and they include how to start a campfire, how to clean a walleye, how to make bannock, and how to change a tire on a truck. You can also choose your own topic. So when it comes to choosing your own topic, we are going to talk about step 1A of the process, the planning process, finding a topic. Ask yourself this question, okay? What is something productive that you love to do? Imagine if you could get paid to do that. Write down a list of your top 3 to 5 things to do that you could teach other people, right? And you're not teaching them by sitting beside them and showing them how to do it. You are teaching them by writing a paragraph. So your writing has to be very effective. It has to be very clear, because you can't talk to them, you can't guide them, you can't give them suggestions as they go along. You can't you can't be a mentor or a teacher who sits beside someone. All you have to go on is your words. So your words have to be very precise. They have to be specific, and that's the challenge here, right? So step 1, we have to plan, and we have to find a topic. So step 1, let's find a topic, all right? So I want you to pull out your notebook and do this. So, you know, up here, make a headline, you know, things I can teach. I'm going to make my list. So here's my list. Okay, this is what I would write down. How to tune a guitar. So instead of how to learn guitar or how to play guitar, I'm going to try to find something a little bit more specific so I can focus my writing. So how to tune a guitar, how to write a short story. What is happening with my S's? There we go. How to write a short story. I could teach somebody how to plan a kid's birthday party. I've got 2 boys, 12 and 9. They're getting a bit older, but they've had a lot of birthday parties. So how to do that. What else could I teach? I could show you how to, let's see, how to set up a PA system, how to set up a sound system. And let's do one more. I could teach you how to make a website. So 5 things that I know how to do, and 5 things that I could teach you how to do, hopefully, by writing an information paragraph so you could read it, follow my steps, and hopefully learn from my mistakes and accomplish the thing that you want to accomplish by using my amazing written instructions. So step 1 of the planning phase is jot down a list. I've written down 5. If you can think of more than 5, do it. But just jot down your list. Now we're on to step 1B. So after choosing your favorite thing to do, you can then come up with 3 to 5 points, specific details related to your topic that could be included in your paragraph. So, and you may have noticed that my instructions to you now is written in the model of an information paragraph. So I'm telling you how to write an information paragraph. So step 1B, after choosing your favorite things to do, you can then come up with 3 to 5 points, okay, related to your topic. So you've got to pick your favorite thing, and this is from your list in step 1B. Sorry, step 1A. So in step 1A, you made a list. Step 1B, you're going to pick your favorite thing from that list. So I'm going to go back to my list, and I'm going to look at this list, and I'm going to pick the second one, how to write a short story. That's going to be my topic, okay? That's the subject of my how-to article. So I picked it. Now I'm going to write 3 to 5 points, specific details related to your topic that could be included in your paragraph. So these are going to be details. I'm also going to do /steps. Okay? Because when you write a how-to article, you are writing a step-by-step procedure on how to do something. And you're not just making a numbered list, 1 through 5. You're guiding the reader through it. So you're doing 2 things primarily. You're giving the reader steps, but you're also giving descriptions of the steps and telling them how each step leads to the next step. So you're not just giving them instructions. You're giving them instructions about the instructions and, providing them with lots of detail to guide them through here. So here are some details and steps. So I would say one of the steps would be to come up with a character. So come up with a character. So give that character a name. Maybe give them a brief backstory. Okay? So if I'm telling someone to write a story, I would say start off, come up with a character, give that character a name and a brief backstory, right? And then I think that you should figure out your genre, right? So what's your type of writing? Are you writing sci-fi? Are you writing horror? Are you doing fantasy, right? What is your genre, okay? Same goes if you're a musician, right? And if you want to sit down and write your first song, right? You might want to think about what genre you want to write in. Are you going to be a country rock star? Are you going to write a blues song, rock star, a punk song, a metal song? Are you going to write pop punk? Are you going to write 70s punk? Are you a flamenco artist? Are you an acoustic rocker? So especially if you're a new writer, it's really good just to put yourself in one genre. So come up. So you need a character. You need to find a genre for your writing, and then you need to come up with a setting, and then you need to create a problem. Create a problem for your character. And that problem might be connected to your setting or your genre. So there you go. I've got 4 things that you can do. You can come up with a character. You can find your genre. You can come up with a setting. And then you can create a problem for your character. So that's my steps. All right. Step 2A, writing. Come up with a topic opening sentence that introduces what you are teaching and gets the reader interested to know more. This is your hook to get the reader's attention. You may want to promise them a result. So this is your hook. Very important word, okay? So I'm going to use my amazing drawing abilities once again. And this is our reader, okay? And that's the delicious hook, okay? That's our first sentence, all right? It's really important to get our reader's attention right off the bat, okay? Don't waste any time. Just get right to the point. What is this paragraph about? What are you teaching? And, how are you going to teach it? And for bonus marks, you might want to give that person a promise of a result, right? So, and this, I'm kind of thinking about like online, like let's say you don't know how to do something, and then you might YouTube it, but you might do a Google search to read a blog or an online how-to article, and you're probably only going to read the headline or the first couple of sentences, and you're to decide upon which one you're going to read. So depending on which topic you choose, there could be hundreds or thousands of articles or videos. And YouTube videos, it's the same idea. You've got to get someone's attention right off the bat, and you've got to like hook them in and be like, stay with me. I'm the one for the job. Read my article, watch my video. You got to hook them in. So what we're doing here is we're coming up with an opening sentence, okay? So I am writing my opening or topic sentence. And here's my first crack at it. So I'm going to say writing a short story might seem, I don't know, might seem what? Might seem impossible at first. Maybe I'm being a little bit too over the top, I don't know, but if you follow this plan, you will be successful. I don't know. I don't love it, but it'll work for now, okay? So this is my first draft. So this will be, this is fine for now. It's going to guide my writing. But I may change it later, okay? So again, I really want to emphasize that writing process is we get things down on paper and we're fine with them, we live with it, and we come back and we change them later, okay? So it's a first draft of my opening, my topic sentence. So writing a short story might seem impossible at first, but if you follow this plan, you will be successful. So it's not terrible, but I think I might change that later depending on how my writing process goes. So I've got my opening sentence, so we're getting there. Now, step 2B, writing, okay? Turn your 3 to 5 points from step 1B into sentences. Write one sentence or more than one sentence if you have more to say for each point, okay? So we've got our points, we've got our steps, and so we jotted down those steps in point form. Right, we didn't actually, and this is point form, so all I did was come up with a setting, figure out your genre, right? So that's not a sentence, but with a little bit of imagination and a little bit of writing, I can easily turn that into a sentence, okay? So I'm going to start with my genre one, right? So up top here, I'm going to say genre sentence. That's a note to myself, right? So I'm just putting a heading up here. I'm going to write a sentence about genre, okay? So something like this. So every short story fits into a genre. Semicolon. That looks kind of like a J, but let's see if I can do a better semicolon. There. Semicolon. Every short story fits into a genre. How about this? Will yours be science fiction, horror, fantasy, or something else? Question mark. Okay, so I've got a sentence. Okay, so every short story fits into a genre. Semicolon. Will yours be science fiction, horror, fantasy, or something else? Okay, so that's the sentence I'm going to use to talk about my genre. So I might actually do two sentences. That could be like sentence one, and then I could even do like a note to myself, like little sidebar up here. Next sentence could be examples, you know, like werewolves, aliens, wizards, you know. And I can just see now I'm talking out loud. So a werewolf is like horror, wizards or fantasy, aliens or sci-fi. So the type of genre you pick as a writer is going to have an impact on the characters in your story, right? So once you pick your genre, then that might lead to your character, or vice versa. The type of character you pick might determine what kind of genre you pick, right? So I can see how this sentence might fit into my next sentence, which then might fit into my next step. Okay, so I'm just jotting down my ideas, right? I'm taking each of my 3 to 5 points, and for each one, I'm writing a sentence. Okay. And to connect my ideas, I might use some transition words and phrases. And we'll use transition words to show sequence. All right. So, first, you might want to do this. Secondly, you might want to do this. Afterward, you might want to think about this. before you think about your genre, you might want to think about your character, or vice versa. Finally, you know, like your last step, finally, put it all together, you know, next, and then, soon. At this point, you might want to, you know, so next, then. So you want to use these transition words in your writing, because again, we're not doing a, excuse me, we're not doing a numbered list. You're not going 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. You have to guide your reader through the process and use these transition words and phrases, okay? So get your topic sentence, jot down a list of 3 to 5 steps or points you can make. Write a sentence for each one of those points, at least one sentence. Use those sequence words to connect them. And then now, you're going to write your concluding last sentence. Simply rewrite your topic sentence using different words. You can summarize your steps or encourage the reader to try this out for themselves. So you're going to write your concluding sentence. So so now I could have a crack at writing my concluding sentence. And maybe like you may not, you know, have a finished story, because you might, not after doing those steps, you may not have a finished short story, but you, I don't know, you conquered the blank page and got off to a good start. I don't love that ending. That could definitely be made better. Okay? So that's my concluding sentence. Again, it's a first draft. Could go like this, and making a note to myself, make that better, right? I got my ideas on the page, but I might want to make that better. So got off to a good start. I could find a more exciting way to say that, right? But that's my concluding sentence. Step 3, revision. So now you've got your opening sentence, you've got your points down, and you've got your concluding sentence. Now look it over and ask yourself this important question, okay? Is there anything missing? Have you missed a step? Is everything in the right order? Do you want to change the order? Can you come up with a better title? Can you make any changes to this thing, right? So revision, remember, revision is big picture, right? Big picture. This is the order of things, right? You know, it's primarily how you order and structure your article, right? Order and structure. Order, structure, format. That's revision. Step 4, editing. So I've given you lots of tips in this course, but here's another one. So go through your paragraph with a different colored pen or pencil to make edits. So make your edits stand out. Check your grammar, spelling, use of capital letters, and punctuation. In the next class, we will delve into this process a little bit further. And so good luck with that. Writing assignments. Keep at it. And we'll see you for next class. Thanks for tuning in.